Hey everyone, welcome to Prosperous Life Finance, where I help educate you in becoming a better trader and investor. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Moderna's stock and doing both a fundamental and technical analysis. So before we start, I would love for each and every one of you guys to be part of the Prosperous Life family, where we are all a community where we help each other grow as both traders and investors by helping each other out throughout our investment journey. And all I ask of you guys is to simply give this video a like and also subscribe to this channel for more content similar to this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So starting off, let's look at what is Moderna and what do they do. As we can see here, Moderna is an American biotechnology company that is focused on drug discovery, drug development, and vaccine technologies based exclusively on the messenger RNA. The thing to know is that Moderna is one of the companies in the race to find a vaccine for the current global pandemic. So I'm very sure a lot of you guys have seen on the news how Moderna has had some success throughout the months in order to push and advance vaccines for this pandemic. So what exactly makes Moderna different than all of these other companies? As you can see here, they place a large emphasis on the messenger RNA. So essentially, the messenger RNA, which is also known as the mRNA, plays a fundamental role in human biology and transfers the instructions stored in DNA to make the proteins required in every living cell. So their approach is to actually use messenger RNA medicines to instruct a patient's own cells to produce proteins that could prevent, treat, or cure diseases. Now, I personally think that this is a very great and strategic plan, as Moderna is creating medicine that will help prevent or even cure this disease from the inside out in order to instruct your own cells to produce those proteins in order to prevent or cure these diseases. So as we can see, they are sort of taking an inside out approach in order to find a vaccine for this global pandemic. Another very impressive thing is that Moderna is not only focusing on this current global pandemic crisis, but they are also working to create messenger RNA medicines for a wide range of diseases and conditions. These new medicines which they are working on and creating can treat lots of diseases, which include cancer, rare diseases, and even cardiovascular disease. So as you can see here, Moderna is actually focused on a wide range of different diseases and conditions in order to be able to treat them and cure them. So scrolling down here, a couple of more things that we can see is the technology that is driving their pipeline. As you can see here, they have Moderna's research engine. Essentially, the research engine combines proprietary digital drug design tools and a highly automated production facility to enable Moderna and their partners to accelerate the pace of research from idea development to development candidate nomination. So we can see how, due to their highly automated production facility, this actually allows them to accelerate their research and is actually now more relevant than ever, as the race to find a cure for this current pandemic is at its highest. On the right side, it shows Moderna's early development engine. They are able to produce the materials needed to supply their preclinical and phase 1 and phase 2 clinical development programs and the infrastructure that is required to anticipate future program demand. So now we're looking at the investor presentation, which is available on the Moderna website to all of their investors. So starting off here, one of the first slides we see is the mRNA as a potential new class of medicines. As you can see, they have 4 descriptions here, which include that they have a large product opportunity, that they have higher probability of technical success, they have accelerated research and development timelines, and they also have a greater capital efficiency over time versus a recombinant technology. One of the things I do like is how they are taking risk management into mind whenever they are building these new classes of medicines. As we can see here, they are taking both the biology risk and the technology risk into account as they are pushing and striving forward in order to find a cure for this current pandemic and also all of their other medicines. So one of the main reasons that Moderna stock is very popular right now is due to the major acceleration in order to find a cure for this current pandemic. As you can see, this shows how FDA clearance to proceed with phase 2 study on Wednesday, May 6th, and how finalizing protocol for phase 3 study is expected to begin in early summer 2020. So we see how quickly they are actually going forward, and I am sure is also one of the reasons that this stock has been very, very popular. They also have a potential biologic license application approval from the mRNA 1273 in the year 2021. So as we all know, the number one factor to the race of this vaccine is time. The companies that are actually moving the quickest in order to proceed with all their different phase studies are obviously going to be the ones that are going to have the best outcomes. So one thing that I do love about Moderna is due to their major acceleration, as this company has had constant growth throughout the past few months. Another thing I always tell all of my viewers and investors out there is to always look at the management team and leadership for the company. This is very important due to the fact that a company could have the best product or service out there in the world, but if they don't have a great management and leadership team, there is a good possibility that your investment will not do well due to that. So as we can see here, they have new leadership additions. To the left, we have Patrick Bergstedt, and he is joining from Merck & Co. He was previously the head of global marketing and commercial operations vaccines. In the middle, we have Jacqueline Miller, who is joining from GlaxoSmithKline, was previously the vice president and head of clinical research and development. And on the right, we have Charbel Harbour, who is joining from Biogen and was previously the vice president, global safety and regulatory sciences. So one thing about Moderna is just the fact that they actually have evidence that their platform is delivering in vaccines. Now, this is great due to the fact that it shows investors their history and how they continue to push forward. Here, we see how they have a large market opportunity. The worldwide vaccine market was $35 billion in the year 2019, which is growing 9% every year. We see how they have a high high probability of technical success due to the fact that vaccines have highest overall POS to approval. Under that, you see how 42% from phase 2 start to approval. Next to that, you see how they have accelerated research and development timelines. So you can see here they went from sequence to phase 1 clinical trials in 63 days. Now this is quite incredible because not only does this show the history of Moderna, but it also shows the power and potential that they actually have in order to continue to push forward. On the right side of that, we see how they have greater capital efficiency over time. So this is due to the capex leverage across the value chain. So here we actually have a detailed timeline of the accelerated research and development. So as we can see from January all the way to now, they just started with a sequence for mRNA against the actual current global pandemic. And in 63 days, they went from sequence selection to the first human dosing, as we can see right here. So alongside that, in May, they had an award from the US government agency for up to $483 million to actually accelerate this development. And in late April, they actually submitted in order to continue the phase 2 study. Around May, they actually had FDA clearance to proceed with the phase 2 study. And now they're planning to start phase 3 in the early summer of 2020. So we can see how quick and rapid Moderna is when it comes to this research and development. So another thing that Moderna is working on is their goal to enable manufacturing for up to 1 billion doses per year. So this talks about the Moderna and Lonza collaboration. As you can see, they plan to establish manufacturing suites at Lonza's facilities in the United States, in New Hampshire, and also Switzerland. So their technology transfer expected to begin in June, and their first batches of the mRNA 1273 is expected to be manufactured at Lonza, New Hampshire in July 2020. So as you can see, Moderna is looking at the future outlook in order to do their best and be able to manufacturing up to 1 billion doses per year, which is actually quite incredible due to the fact that aside from actually trying to find a cure, they also had to find a way in order to scale this up to be able to provide it to a wide array of consumers at a very large scale. And as you guys can see, with up to 1 billion doses per year, I think that this is quite incredible. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the first quarter 2020 financial results. Now as you can see here, we have the balance sheet, the statement of cash flows, and the statement of operations. Looking at the balance sheet as compared to last year, they have $1.72 billion in cash equivalents, and investments. Here we have the cash flow, which shows the cash used in operating activities, and then also the cash used for purchases of property and equipment. As we can see here, they did spend more money last year than they did this year. So at the very bottom, we have the total revenue. So you can see here, the total revenue has actually decreased by about a half year over year in this span of 3 months. The thing to note is that this could have been due to multiple reasons. Obviously, in March of 2019, this current global pandemic did not really exist. There could be a wide array of factors which has actually decreased the revenue significantly, but this is one thing to take a note of. Once again, I always tell all of my investors out there to always look at the financials as well, as they give key important metrics into the company and give you very good comparisons, as we can see here, in order for you to create your own strategic plan when it comes to investing in these companies. So here we have another chart which once again shows the cash flow information and 2020 guidance, and down here we see that they expect net cash used in operating activities and for purchases of property and equipment in the year 2020 to be approximately $500 million. So one good thing to note is that they have up to $2.4 billion to invest and create value. So looking at their cash position, they have approximately $1.72 billion of cash and investments as of late March this year. They also got an award from the US government for up to $483 million in order to once again accelerate the development of the mRNA vaccine. And here they have additional grants. The total additional funding available from grants is approximately $180 million, which means that they have multiple years of cash runaway. So the great thing about this is that they do have lots of cash available, which will actually allow them to expand and continue to invest in their facilities, investment, and research and development in order to create a vaccine for this current global pandemic as soon as possible. So in this picture, we see Moderna in May 2020. At the top here, they have a pipeline. In the middle, they have programs in development. And at the bottom, they have the different foundations. So the great thing is that the expansion and the clinical trials seem to be improving and continuing on rapidly and smooth for Moderna. Now let's go ahead and take a more technical look at Moderna stock. On the screen here, you see the TD Ameritrade Think or Swim trading platform, which is my platform of choice in order to invest and trade stocks. So let's have a quick rundown of all the different technical indicators that you see on the screen. This blue line right here is the 9-day exponential moving average. Here we have the volume. Under that we have the MACD, which is a technical indicator which actually helps us with entry and exit points. And to the bottom of that we have the RSI, which actually helps us determine if the stock is currently overvalued or undervalued. So we are currently looking at a 20-day chart. So you can see within the past 20 days, it reached a low of $55.81 and reached a high of $99.78. So we can see it did increase substantially in just a very short amount of time, as different positive news keeps coming out for this stock. So taking a closer look, we see how once it reached a high of $99.78, it did start to sell off, as this actually broke the blue 9-day EMA line and then started trading right under that, which did signal a slight downtrend. It did start to consolidate a bit after that, and then once again starting to sell off, as it still remains under this 9-day EMA. So the MACD has actually not created a buying point just yet, even though the RSI is showing a very undervalued stock. So one thing to take note of is that you should never trade based solely on these indicators. These indicators should just help your original strategy and plan and help you execute them. So as of right now, we do see how this stock is still currently under this 9-day EMA, which could continue to go down, even though the RSI is showing undervaluation, which could also allow this stock to go up once it crosses this 9-day EMA. Now, one thing I always tell all of my viewers is to always stick to their original game plan. Obviously, if you're a short-term trader or swing trader, these day-to-day fluctuations are a great plus for you. But if you're a long-term investor, you shouldn't really be worried about these day-to-day fluctuations, as you believe in the overall business and are optimistic of this company in the long run. So this was a technical look at Moderna stock. Now, what is my overall opinion of Moderna? I do personally think that this is a great long-term stock. As we can see here, in the past 6 months, they have had an increase of over 280%, which just comes to show you how in demand these companies are creating vaccines are in demand as of now. As they continue to progress throughout their different phases of trials, I do think that this is a promising stock which could pay off in the long run. With that being said, I would like to know, what do you guys think about this stock? I would love to hear what you guys think about it down in the comments below. And also tell me, do you guys have a position in this stock or actually plan on initiating position anytime soon? Go ahead and let me know. Once again, I would love for you guys to be part of the Prosperous Life family in order to grow and expand within our investing journey. So all you gotta do is like and subscribe to join the family. Once again, thank you all very much for watching. God bless you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.